What's up everybody, and welcome back to Ben's Big Drive. You like my new setup? So throughout my never-ending and never tiring journey to be good at this gosh dang sport, I've come to realize something that has helped me and I know will help you learn to throw farther and be better as well. Now what I've learned is that the more that you understand about how the backhand throw works, the faster that big improvements come. So with that being said, let's dive into a key principle of the backhand throw that is critical to learning how to throw farther: pulling, dragging, and lagging. Hey, gotcha. So to break down the topic of this video, and really just the backhand in general, it's as simple as this. How do we power our throwing arm so that the disc goes from in our hand to flying through the air? And there are three ways that everyone who has ever thrown a disc does this: pulling, dragging, and lagging. And as you can probably guess, there are huge implications on how far you can throw depending on which one of those you do. And guess what? At the end of the video, I'm gonna show you how to find out which one you are doing. So the first method of getting the disc to go around your body from in your hand to flying through the air is pulling. Now, pulling in the disc is the easiest way for beginners to get the disc around their body and out of their hand, but it is also the least powerful way of throwing. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the scary buzzword, pulling, and why this is not a good way to powerfully throw the disc. So I won't go into huge detail here, but it is important to know why pulling is bad so that you can move up the throwing ladder. So pulling is the weakest method of throwing because when you tense up your throwing arm muscles to make that pulling motion, you're disconnecting them from the power of your body because your arm and your body are no longer rotating together, they're rotating independently. And while all of the rotation of your body might be all good and powerful, the only energy that ends up in the disc are the few muscles in your throwing arm, and thus your maximum distance is capped significantly. Now, I want to put this in perspective for you, and this is not a scientific number, but I've been playing and researching backhands for almost a decade, and I've never seen somebody that strictly pulls throw it over 325 feet. And most strictly pullers are well below that. And I throw that number out there not to make you self-conscious about how far you throw, because that is definitely not the point here. The point is to show you that there is way more distance in your body that you are capable of getting if you make the changes to climb up the ladder. So if pulling means that you're only using your arm to power the disc around your body, the next category is this gray area that I think a large portion of disc golfers who have been playing for a while fall into, and this is dragging. Now, this is a term that I made up. You won't find this anywhere else, not that I'm aware of. If you do, don't send it to me. But this is when your arm is being powered at least in part by your body, but, big but, something in your form, something in your rotation is introducing roadblocks or speed bumps in your throw. So in other words, dragging is when something in your rotation is not working how it should, and your throwing arm is not completely attached to your body, or your form is really good, but your rotation is just taking longer than it should. Now stay with me here, this is a very complicated subject, but I think it will really help you be able to look at your own form and make some real improvements. So the reason this category, dragging, is so large and includes so many disc golfers that have really put in work on their form is that this group of people can include people who throw 250 feet and some people who throw well over 400. And there are only two things that separate the throwers on the lower end of that range and the upper end of that range. And they are: how much is your body actually powering your throwing arm, or how well connected is your throwing arm to your body? And number two, how efficient and powerful is your rotation? It's as simple as that, even though it may not sound simple. How well is your throwing arm connected to your body? Is it actually receiving that power from your rotation? And then how powerful is your rotation? Bada bing, bada boom. Where you fall on that spectrum is how far you will be able to throw, no questions asked. So what does that mean for those of us who are in the dragging category, and how can we improve our distance? Well, first we have to tackle that first aspect. First we have to see how well our throwing arm is actually connected to our body. And the first step to this is to stop pulling. Even if you have to force yourself to stop pulling, you may lose distance initially as a result, but you put yourself into this dragging category and you open up for yourself way more potential distance if you put in the work to fix your rotation. Now, if you don't give up pulling, you may get that distance back in the short term, but you'll be stuck in that category forever and you're sacrificing so much juicy power that you can have by committing to stopping the pull and entering the dragging category. So if you've taken that first step and you've given up the pull, your fruitful journey in the dragging category begins. And now we set our eyes towards the third and last category, which is lagging. Pretty nice word. Now, lagging is a term that you've hopefully heard of, and it refers to the way that in a great backhand throw, your throwing arm lags behind the rotation of your body and then whips forward in all of its powerful glory. And this happens first of all because the throwing arm is loose, perfectly timed, and in the correct position to be connected to the rotation of your body. And as your body rotates, the throwing arm hangs loosely until it can't hang on any longer and then lags behind that rotation and snaps powerfully through with acceleration. Now, there will be without a doubt some arm lag that happens in the dragging category, and this is great. This is exactly what we want as we progress towards throwing farther. But what separates the laggers from the draggers is this. Well, dragging. Dragging means that they are getting some arm lag because their arm is loose and connected to the rotation, but the arm is taking a longer path from extension to release than it should. In other words, your arm is dragging through part of your rotation instead of lagging right through it. So a person in the lagging category has no drag in their rotation, meaning that their throwing arm and the disc go right from extension to release point in the quickest and the most efficient way possible, accelerating the whole time. And it is not being slowed down by anything in their form that is in the way or out of place. And now again, there are a wide spectrum of disc golfers when it comes to those in the lagging category, but the vast majority of them are pros and even touring pros at that. This is the category of people that have virtually, nobody's perfect, tackled that first metric that we use to evaluate someone's throw, which is how well is the body connected to your throwing arm. And the only metric left is how powerful is their rotation? How powerful is the body that their throwing arm is connected to? So this is where many pros find themselves, is that they've eliminated all or nearly all of the drag in their throw. And now to add power, they're looking at ways to make their rotation even more explosive, more compact, or more efficient. So how do we apply this to our practice to help us gain distance? Well, first of all, you have to find out where you are on the spectrum. So once you know where you are, you can move up the ladder. So am I in the pulling category? If so, how do I learn to connect my arm to my body's rotation so that I can stop pulling and enter the dragging category? So are you just now entering the dragging category and wondering how to make your rotation more powerful and efficient? The first step is to know where you are, and you have to know what your body is doing. And then you can look to the next step on the ladder towards getting to that lagging category, instead of just flailing around and trying every form tip that you see on the internet. You have to know where you are so that you can progress upward. So I'm sure your next question is, how do I know where I fall on the scale? What signs do I need to look for that tell me that I'm pulling when I look at my footage, or that tell me where the drag is in my throw? Well, rather than to go through all of them here, that would take an hour, I've created a guide that you can download for free that you can have right by your side when you look at your form videos that will help you understand what you're looking for, and that will show you some telltale signs, telltale signs, they tell the tale, and show you some telltale signs that indicate where you are on the spectrum from pulling to dragging to lagging. And then from there, you can correctly diagnose your form issues to know what to do moving forward to make the improvements that you've always wanted to make. So this guide took me a long time to make. It's very comprehensive, and the link for this guide is in the description below. Like I said, it's completely free, and hopefully you find yourself coming back to it over and over as you continue to climb the ranks and make those improvements in your throw that you've always wanted to. So to see what to look for when you go look at your own form footage, click the link below, download the guide, have it next to your video while you're watching, and you'll know what to look for when you're watching your video, and you can say exactly, oh, here's where I am. What do I need to do to move up to the next level? Pretty helpful, right? So click the link to download the guide below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What are you doing? Do it, and buckle up and follow for more of Ben's Big Drive. More helpful guides and stuff like this coming in the future. Stay tuned. I guess that's enough. Good night. Love you. Follow on for more Ben's Big Drive.